Welcome to the world-famous Jiggy Jaguar radio program.
Raw and uncut, Jiggy Jag, you know how you do it. You know what I'm saying? Keeping it all the way live.
Broadcasting live from Hutchinson, Kansas.
Well, I'm sitting here with a linguist. I had no idea. I didn't know you were, but I didn't know that you were a wordsmith.
Call Jiggy right now, 267-22-JIGGY.
Steady money.
Hey, Jiggy, what's happening, man? Reminds me of that David Bowie song. Jiggy play guitar. It's a great name, man. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Presenting
I'm Mike Massey, and you can catch me on Jiggy Jag TV and see a few of my trick shots there. Thank you very much.
Jiggy Jaguar.
I never knew what freedom was until I saw you lose yours.
Welcome to a special edition of the world-famous Jiggy Jaguar radio program, coast to coast and border to border on TuneIn, iTunes, Radio Loyalty, Stitcher, and, of course, 50-plus AM FM stations. Across the country and around the world, spiritual dream interpreter is going to be our guest here in a few moments. Amy Coello, she is also a spiritual dream interpretation expert who can help our listeners understand what God of this universe is speaking to them as individuals. We'll talk about her new book as well. Download our brand new app over there at jiggyjaguar.us. You can stream the show live, 24/7 replay, exclusive news and programming information, all available on our app. Check out jiggyjaguar.us. And if you come in late or want to hear this interview again, we will have it posted at our website, jiggyjaguar.com, for more information. We're going to go to the telephones. We're going to give our guest a few moments here to introduce themselves. We'll talk a little bit about why they're here. Amy, go ahead and give us a brief introduction on yourself.
Hey, yeah, so I wrote a book called Dreams, A Window into Your Destiny, and after traveling years and years and teaching on dreams and studying different cultures and religions and beliefs and just, psychological dream interpretation versus spiritual dream interpretation. And so it's my message, trying to get that out there and traveling around and teaching on how God is speaking. Are we listening?
Well, this is an interesting book. Tell me about the writing process for the book.
Well, so, I actually have been teaching and on stage for many, many years, and we started recording those teachings, and then we had a ghostwriter come in and transcribe all of the video teachings, and then I just ran back over it and wrote it out.
Amazing stuff. We've got a great guest with us today. She joins us live here in our broadcast. Amy believes that through our dreams, God is giving us divine strategy, divine guidance, and warnings that can help lead us through relationships, business, as well as healing the broken places in our lives. She's also the co-founder of eyes2see.org, which is a research project that hired a data scientist and analyst to create algorithms that find spikes and patterns in the community's dreams collectively. Tell me a little bit about the organization.
Okay, so we, after traveling and teaching, we know that we know for a fact that God is speaking to the person individually, bringing them divine guidance, divine wisdom, just kind of how to get out of your crappy situation, right? And so, the difference between spiritual and psychological interpretation, which is the Freudian and Jungian understanding, that's really what they believe is that the answer's already within you, right? Well, if that were true, you wouldn't be in your sorry, crappy situation to begin with. So, after many years of studying and seeing how we are divinely guided by our dreams, we figured out that if you are being guided individually, then how much more can we be divinely guided or warned collectively? So we set out on a research project. It went from, hey, I think I have an idea back in December, to 5 months later launching a $120,000 website. We're still not done. And we've, building out these algorithms. And so really what we are is we're a journal of spiritual experiences. And as people, go on their journey and they say, hey, I had this dream, it kind of sticks with them past lunchtime, they have a place to go in there and write it out and just kind of think through it. If they struggle or they don't have, a chance, if they don't know where to go with it, then they click the submit button. It goes to our team of master dream certified interpreters that have been studying dreams for over a decade. And we help work it out with them, right? But on the back side of that website is a research project. And I'll give you, we micro-proved our theory 3 times already, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because one of them was with the Dallas shooting, one of them was with the Orlando shooting, and the other one was with the Supreme Court justice that died, Scalia, recently. And so several people had dreamed prior to Scalia dying that he, not only had died, but that was actually murdered. And then in Orlando, we had several dreams pop up that, prior to the Orlando shooting, and then specifically, we were going to run a press release on the one in Dallas where several people, specifically one girl had a dream that she was in a city unknown to her. She was running through the city, and they said she heard they're shooting, and then as she turned around, a person said, a cowboy is shooting. Now, see, our system is created to pick up hot words like terrorist or shooter or shooting, gun, prime minister, president, military, all of that. We pick up what's called tinderbox words, right? And we're looking for tinderboxes, hot spots, where maybe, people in Sister City, California, in the China community are dreaming about an earthquake, and then all of a sudden an earthquake happens. So that's what we're trying to catch. So unfortunately, we micro-proved our theory where people are dreaming about things prior to them happening. It's like a forewarning. So what we think we can do is, as we get statistical data, now I'll tell you this, if she had that dream and called the FBI and said, look, listen, I had this dream that, there's a shooter in Dallas, you know what? They would have hung up on her and probably profiled her as being crazy, right? But what if we had statistical data proving it? What if we had 124 people having the dream versus, 3 people, right?
Definitely. We've got a great guest with us today. Joining us live here on our broadcast, spiritual dream interpreter and author, Amy joins us. Dreams is the latest from her. And every culture in the world believes that a higher power is speaking through its dreams. We are the only culture that wiped basically understanding out and rose psychological theories and answers came from within the soul. God is speaking. Are we listening? And dreams is the latest from our guest today. Now, Amy, you've been teaching and speaking publicly since 2004 on dreams, visions, and the prophetic. Why do we dream?
Well, we dream because there's a greater force that lives outside of us that is constantly trying to get us on a path of purpose. And we know that because everybody seeks purpose. We all have a purpose. We all have a reason we were there. A lot of times we can't meet that purpose and we can't figure out what that destiny is because we've got a lot of trauma that happened to us between 1 and 5 years old, right? And it doesn't matter if you come from one of the best families, they still traumatize you. And so we've got these blocks that we've got to remove, and this what I like to call fractured soul. And so what we see through the different phases of dreaming is we start out with nightmares and what we call dark dreams, and that's usually from an early age. We just kind of have dark dreams. And then once we realize, hey, these dreams are they're a hidden and veiled message, right? They're a parabolic language. They're hidden, veiled communication, spirit-to-spirit communication. So then once we get into that and we start diving in and looking at some symbols and how they relate to your life, then people enter into a phase of healing. And the fractured soul, maybe the ego or the, your spirit or your body even. We've had people dreaming of different, whether they should have chemo or take a holistic approach for cancer. And a dream that, they wrote in their dream journal, hey, I need to, I've got cancer. Do I go chemo or do I go holistic? And the answer came through a dream. And so we see that. And then they move into another place where now they're having extrinsic dreams for others, maybe their community or their family or their corporation. And then they start really moving into the path of destiny.
We've got a fabulous guest with us today. Amy joins us here on our broadcast, coast to coast and border to border on TuneIn, iTunes, Radio Loyalty, and Stitcher. The latest is Dreams, and also check out eyes2see.org. Are dreams from God?
They are. We have, I took it from, a basic blank sheet. I wanted to know where these dreams came from. I pulled down everything I'd ever learned, stripped it all down and said, I'm going to learn from every culture, every belief, every, religion, denomination, every psychological understanding. And I took it all down to the bare basics. And as I travel through the world culturally, I've realized that there is this outside force, there's something bigger than us, a divine light, God, your creator, whatever you want to call it, that is speaking to you and revealing to you this nature, your nature, and trying to get you healed so that you can become all that this God or this creator or divine light created you to be.
We've got a great guest with us today. We're going to take a 60-second timeout here in our broadcast. When we come back, we've got more coming up with Amy. On the other side, Dreams is the latest. We've got more coming up.
Welcome to the Unlock Your Wealth Update. Here's Heather Wagenhals.
The death of a life partner is heartbreaking. As we take time to grieve, we must also take time to consider our financial situation and obligations that go along with the loss of a spouse. If your partner was in charge of the finances, then it's time to step up and get involved as soon as you are emotionally ready. First, you must take action in the first month of losing a spouse. Keep up with the bills, collect any life insurance policies, and understand how your health insurance works now with the loss of your spouse. Second, it's the home. Even if your home seems manageable by yourself, ask yourself, can you keep up with the daily maintenance on your own? If in doubt, you may want to consider downsizing. And finally, it's surprising how many people are fooled by loved ones. Adult children have been known to take advantage of their parents' inheritance, pushing all the emotional buttons and pulling on the heartstrings. Beware. For more great resources to help you create unlimited wealth and happiness, visit our website at crackingyourmoneycode.com. I'm Heather Wagenhals. Now go out and unlock your wealth today.
24/7, 365. The number 2 internet radio program according to TalkStreamLive.com. This is the Jiggy Jaguar Radio Show.
Welcome back to our big broadcast, coast to coast and border to border on TuneIn, iTunes, Radio Loyalty, and 50-plus AM/FM stations across the country and around the world. iHeartRadio as well, AMFM247.com. The Build and Joy Radio Network as well. eyes2see.org is the organization that our guest, Amy, is involved with. She has been teaching and speaking publicly since 2004. She's written 3 books, Dreams, A Window into Your Destiny, Dream Symbols, and How to Talk to the Unchurched. And she's with us today here on our big program. She's also got a 3rd book out there, Journal into Your Dreams, and she joins us live here on our program. Now, Amy, what steps are necessary to interpret your dreams?
So one of the things that you want to do is you want to identify the feeling of the dream when you're in the dream. Were you scared? Were you peaceful? Were you excited? Were you anxious? You want to identify that and write it down. The next thing you want to do is you want to title your dream. And when I say title, you get a full sentence, right? So it's got to have a verb and a noun. It's like diagramming in 6th grade if you pass 6th grade. So if you want to diagram that dream out, and you start with the title. And the title's got to be kind of a longer title. And the reason why you do that is because it's going to give you the weighted symbols. It's going to direct you to what was really important, because dreams get crazy. They get very symbolic. They take many lefts and right turns, and they turn you in circles and spin you around, right? So you want to title the dream. And when you title that dream, it's going to tell you what is the core action and what is the core subject, right? So that you can get down and dirty with just that, those 2 things. If you can get those 2 things, you can pretty much figure out what the message is trying to tell you. And so when you let's take falling, for instance. If you feel like you're falling, you're almost asleep and you jump up because you feel like you're falling. One of the things to ask yourself is, where do I feel like my life is, where I'm falling, or where do I feel like the rug is being pulled out from under me? Or maybe you are driving in a car. Then what you want to ask yourself is, what's driving me? Is it my passion? Is it my career? Is it my education, my family? Is it, what is driving you at the moment? And then who's in the car with you? And then what is that? What do they symbolize, right? If there's snakes in your dream, and you want to look and say, where are there snakes around me? Where are there people that are around me that don't have my best interest at heart, right? If a snake is in a tree, trees can represent leaders. They provide shade and covering and food, fruit, right? So they feed you and they cover you. So it's leaders. Maybe it's a corporate leader. Maybe it's your manager, your supervisor, your husband, your spouse, whatever covers you. Then if there's a snake in it, then there's a forewarning that there's something there's not the best interest that they have it for you. Maybe your teeth are falling out. It's a very common dream. And so you want to look around you and say, where are relationships that are falling out, right? Or sometimes your back teeth can represent the things you eat on and chew on. And if they're falling out, what are you eating on and chewing on that isn't good for you? If it's your front teeth, it can speak of your identity, right? Because if you lose your front teeth, what do? You hide your mouth, and so you're hiding yourself. Where do you feel like your identity is being is under attack or needs to change or something of that nature? Maybe you're flying and naked. Maybe you're flying naked, right? So it talks about vulnerability and transparency. Naked in a dream isn't always bad. A lot of times people come and they never want to say it. They tell me, oh, so I had this dream that a friend of mine was having sex with their boss. And so sex dreams are very, very common, and sex dreams just represent alignment. And so you're aligning with whoever that is. Maybe you're having sex with your boss in a dream, and it makes you uncomfortable when you wake up or you just realize that you shouldn't be having sex with your boss, right? So, but what is that? So instead of instead of relying on the emotion of uncomfortability, you're just uncomfortable, what you do is you speak to ask, what is the nature of that person? Is it positive or negative? And what am I coming into alignment with? Maybe you're kissing. Kissing represents agreement, that we're coming into agreement with one another. Maybe you're hugging. That's a transference of gift sets, that you're picking up gift sets from that person that you're hugging, or you're picking up negative qualities from that person that you're hugging.
We've got
those are the steps.
We've got a great guest with us today. She joins us live here on the telephone. Now, before we let you go, how do we find you online and social media and all these different places?
Okay, so Amy Coello, it's Coello. That's Coello.com. Amy, A-M-Y, AmyCoello.com. And it's eyes, the number 2, the letter C.org. Eyes, the number 2, the letter C.org. Join us on Facebook, and you'll find our crazy videos on there, and catch us when we start to teach about reoccurring dreams this week.
Well, I appreciate you making time for us today. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Definitely. Have yourself a good day.